If you ask most immigrants who have been living in Germany for the last 3, 5, or 10 years whether they feel financially ahead, a surprising number will tell you no. Now, this is not because they have been trying or the opportunities aren't there. Trust me, Germany is one of the best countries to actually build wealth in. But because there is a real gap between what the system offers and what most immigrants actually knows about it. Nobody sits you down and walk you through any of it. You kind of have to find out, sometimes accidentally. But here's the thing, there is actually a lot in the German system that is working in your favor. Tax benefits most immigrants never claim, ways to build your financial profile, and property strategies that are genuinely accessible to most of us, even if you've been to the bank once and it wasn't a good experience. I came to Germany in 2015, started my corporate life in 2017, and I remember looking at my first payslip and thinking to myself, okay, there's actually a lot going on here that I never knew. So this video is exactly that. The things I wish somebody had told me very early on when I started my life in Germany, and the things I now share with the people I work with about building wealth properly as an immigrant living in Germany. Let's start with taxes, because this is one area most immigrants are actually losing a lot of money without even realizing it. And I want to be specific here because there is so much you can talk about taxes in Germany. I want to talk about 3 things you might be missing as an immigrant when it comes to taxes in Germany. The first one is the tax itself. Most immigrants simply don't file their taxes, and the reasons are completely understandable. The language is a barrier, the process feels complicated, finding a good Steuerberater is a whole adventure on its own. And honestly, the whole thing actually feels stressful enough for many people to avoid. So people avoid it and they hope nobody forces them to do it. But here's what they are leaving on the table. Depending on your situation, your work-related expenses, childcare costs, insurance, commute to work, you may be entitled to a significant refund. Money that the tax office has been holding for you that actually belongs to you. And beyond that, depending on your Steuerklasse, your tax class, you might be paying more taxes upfront than you actually need to. Let's think about that for a second. In general, whatever money you pay to the tax office, you can always get back because that's what you get for the tax refund. But let's be clear here. Your money sitting with the tax office earns you absolutely nothing. That same money sitting in your investment account earns you returns. So the question isn't just whether you will get a tax refund at the end of the year. It's also, can you structure your situation such that less money leaves your pay slip at the end of every month and more money stays with you, which you can invest for the time being. And if you need to settle the tax office later, fine, then you do it. You still come out ahead because your money has been working all this time and you only need to pay the tax office later on. Now, the second thing I want to cover, which might come as a surprise to many of you, is that many immigrants coming from Africa, Latin America, or parts of Asia are very religious. They give regularly to their church according to their faith, tithes or monthly contributions. What most people don't know, or you probably didn't know, is that if your church in Germany is registered as a non-profit, which almost all of them are, your contributions are tax deductible. You just need your church to issue you a spending quittung at the end of the year, showing how much you've actually donated or contributed to the church for that year. You then include it in your Steuererklärung, your tax declaration, and you get your tax benefits back. I have seen people recover thousands of euros from this one alone. And the third one, which probably applies to every single one of you watching this video, is that the money you send home can also be deducted in your taxes. Most immigrants have regular financial obligations back home. Monthly family support, regular transfers. Under German law, if you're providing financial support to any close relative living abroad that depend on you, you may be able to claim those payments as tax deductible. There's a specific form called Unterhaltserklärung exactly for this purpose. And there are obviously conditions and limits to be adhered to, but it is worth going through it properly with a tax berater just to make sure that you are filing it correctly. But the point here is, money you are already sending home could be reducing your tax bill here in Germany. So these three things, filing your taxes, claiming your donations, claiming your family support, are conversations worth having with your tax advisor. Most of this money is already leaving your account, so you might as well just know how to get some of those back. You just need to know how to get part of it back. And this is exactly what I mean when I say the system has more working in your favor than you actually realize. And speaking of building your financial profile in Germany, there is another area where most immigrants are also losing ground. And it often comes down to something as simple as how we handle cash. Let me tell you about something I've seen more than once. I had a few clients, all immigrants, all working, all earning decently, who came to me because they needed loans to support a project back home. They went to multiple banks and every one of them rejected them. And when we looked at why, it came down to one simple thing. They were doing almost everything in cash, getting paid, withdrawing a large sum at the beginning of the month, paying rent in cash, paying bills in cash, and buying everything in cash. To some degree, I completely understand why people would always want to do this. A lot of us grew in environments where cash was simply how you handled money. No standing orders, no digital transactions, no pattern that they can read. And a bank that cannot understand your financial behavior is a bank that will not take the risk of lending money to you. So if you're managing most of your money in cash, please think about changing that. Not because cash is wrong, but because in Germany, your digital footprint is also part of how the system assesses you. Regular standing orders for your bills, rent paid through bank transfer, consistent traceable transactions. These things build a picture of reliability that the system can read about you. And this connects us directly to something called Schufa. I'm sure everyone living in Germany has heard of this. But for years, many of us didn't really know how it worked. You would apply for something and get rejected, and the answer you would get is that the computer simply said no. By the way, Schufa has recently undergone a complete overhaul of its scoring system. The old percentage score is gone. It's now a single score from 100 to 999, calculated on exactly 12 criteria. And for the first time, you can actually check your Schufa score for free on the Schufa app or on their website. The single biggest factor to know: payment history. Paying your bills and installments on time, every time. That one thing carries more weight than any of the 12 criteria. Having a mortgage actually helps your case. Schufa sees it as a sign of long-term financial stability. Installment loans, on the other hand, like financing a phone, a couch, or financing on consumer goods, those actually hit your Schufa when you do it multiple times. So if you can buy something outright, do it, especially when you are planning on investing in real estate or buying a property within 2 to 3 years. On credit cards, yes, using one actually can help you. What I do personally is that I use my credit card for my monthly consumables and purchases. And before the month comes to an end, I clear all the debts on it. So I am using credit consistently, building my credit score, but never carrying a balance or paying interest. That pattern over time builds your profile in the right way. So again, the system can work in your favor. You just need to know how to use it. Your Schufa doesn't just affect loans. It sits at the heart of the question I get asked a lot by most immigrants in Germany. And this is owning a property in Germany really realistic for me? The most common thing I hear from immigrants about buying a property in Germany is this: I went to a bank, they gave me a terrible rate, so I figured buying a property isn't just for me. And I want to address this directly. One bank visit, one algorithm results, one moment ago, that is not a deciding factor as to whether you can get a property or not. That is not your final verdict. Here's what German banks are actually looking at when they assess you for a mortgage loan. Your eigencapital, that's 20 or 30% of the property value that you save for. Your income stability, that is your contract type, duration, income level. Your Schufa, your credit worthiness. But it goes beyond just these three also. Your account structure matters. Banks want to see organized, consistent finances, a clear picture of what comes in and what goes out. A two-account model where your income ends in one and your variable expenses ends in the other is a simple way to show that structure early. Your overall risk profile matters too. Things like having a pension plan in place, adequate insurance coverage for protection are signals to the bank that you've thought about your financial stability for the long term. And your residency status matters. The more settled and long-term your situation in Germany appears, the more comfortable the bank feels about lending money to you for 25 years plus. So when you walked into that bank some time ago with limited Schufa, short employment history, maybe a temporary contract, and an account maybe full of mini cash withdrawals, of course the algorithm is going to produce a bad outcome for you. Not because owning a property in Germany isn't in the cards for you, but because that specific profile at that specific moment wasn't ready for that conversation yet. The strategy is to build towards that mortgage conversation deliberately. Strengthen your Schufa, build your eigencapital, which we covered in the last video, get your account structure in order, and get your protections in place. And when you come back to that mortgage conversation sometime in the future with a stronger profile, it is a completely different conversation. I've watched it happen. It takes time, but it is absolutely achievable. One bad bank visit is not Germany's answer to you. It was just probably not the right moment. Now, beyond property, there is also something I want to address that almost never come up in any financial content videos I've seen. But it is probably one of the most important things most immigrants are silently thinking about. You are building a life in Germany, at the same time having financial obligations back home. Monthly family support, regular remittances, maybe land or property in your home country, people depending on you in two places at the same time. And underneath all that, maybe you have this fear that what if I work for 20, 30, 40 years and I get to retirement and I have nothing? That fear is real. It is valid and it deserves an answer. The German state pension, the gesetzliche Rentenversicherung, is contribution-based. The more you earn and contribute to it during your working life, the more you receive when you retire. But if you arrived in Germany later in your life, like myself, had career gaps, years in lower income brackets, your state pension alone will most likely not be enough for you when you retire. I'm not trying to scare you, I'm just being honest. You can absolutely build a surplus towards that while still supporting your family back home. But it needs to be built around your numbers, not a generic template somebody sends to you who doesn't understand our culture, our numbers, our situation. Which brings me to something that most people think of as purely a retirement product, but is actually one of the most powerful financial tools available to you right now. Here's something that genuinely surprises people when I explain it. The right Altersvorsorge, retirement savings vehicles, it's not just about building for the future. It is also one of the most tax-effective ways of building wealth for yourself. A rural pension plan, for example, the contributions you make are tax-deductible, which means you'll be reducing your tax burden right now, growing your money in a tax-sheltered environment, and building a guaranteed stream of income at retirement, all at the same time. Think of it as the government actually subsidizing your future. And remember what we talked about in the beginning? Keeping more cash flow today so you can invest it for tomorrow. This is one of the most structured way to actually do exactly that. Your Altersvorsorge reduces your tax bill, and the tax refunds you get from that goes into your growth assets, and your growth assets build the base for income generating investments over time. So you see, it's all a connected system. Taxes, pension, investments, properties. And when you design it that way, that is when your money really starts to work. So to conclude for today, Germany is not a system that works against you. It is a system that rewards the people who take the time to understand it. And today, you took that time. None of this requires you to choose between building here or supporting home. It simply requires a plan that accounts for both. And the earlier you build that plan, the more options you have. If you want to sit down and go through your specific case, what you might be leaving on the table, what to prioritize first, how to build a plan that works for your life here and your obligations back home, I do a free one-on-one consultation. Your numbers, your situation, a real conversation. I am Kelvin. Catch you on the next one.